Woo! We almost made it to Friday. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? I did check my audio, but that was a few minutes ago, so you never know. So if I sound like I'm in a toilet bowl or underwater, you let me know. I know how to fix it now. Hi, Izzy. Hi, Teresa. Wolfcat made it in. Gaelic made it in. Last night, gotta tell you about this. Some of you already know. I was recording a video for little Quentin Simon. Well, I didn't go into the studio per se, fancy words. For Quentin, I went into the studio for Summer. So a bunch of you came in going, "What's going on, Brooks? What's going on?" I almost had a heart attack. I just continued making the video and then just changed the title later. But I was like, "Oh, sorry guys, I'm just making a video." And I did that sober. That wasn't no Sarah Boone mistake. I did that stone cold sober. Can you believe that? So for those of you that thought we were live at 9 o'clock last night, nope, you know me better than that. So it's super humid. I actually have the AC pumping. OJ's laying underneath the vent. And I did see a meme today. Somebody said they're ready for fall. I was like, hang on there, pumpkin spice. You haven't even had a sunburn yet, but that's how it goes. Everybody has their favorite season. Mine happens to be, I like warmer weather. Let me put it that way. Let me just put it that way. So, the topic of the morning. What's the holdup? What is the holdup in Summer's case? I think we all have our own opinion about that. Actually, have a guest backstage. It's going to go through a few things with us. A former Rogersville resident. You're actually going to recognize the name. We've been going back and forth about Summer for quite a while. I know there's a lot of talk about, CPS. Well, we know that the police are going to continue their investigation and not wait on CPS. We know that. Of course, it's going to bleed into it. That happens in every case where there's other siblings. The holdup could be the parents that are not cooperating. If you want your child found, you don't say things like, well, they have my number, they can call me. That's not really how it goes. Police can't harass you. They can't make you talk. We watched the interrogation of Boone's Farm Barbie yesterday, and I mean, she was chirping like a canary. Nobody was forcing her to talk. You don't have to talk to them. But if you want something out of them, yeah, you got to get a hold of them. It doesn't work that way. A lot of crazy stuff going on, that is for sure. Well, I tell you what, before I get to the craziness and bring up our crazy guest, who I just adore, let me get to the comments. And I need glasses that don't have fingerprints on them. All right. Kit Kat said, this is in regards to the show last Sunday about Summer, I believe that's the show. She said, no updates, just old news and a profile picture. Read that again. I'm assuming this is a complaint. No updates, just old news and a profile picture. Spoiler alert. Izzy is an awesome human being. Thank you for the super sticker. But that's not the spoiler alert. Everybody already knew Izzy was awesome. No, there's no updates. There's no updates. But what we do around here is we keep talking about the missing so they're not forgotten. Also, if you're offended by my profile picture and you want to see me on camera, get a membership. Come watch a members live. You can see me put my hair in a ponytail, throw my cat off the desk, wipe my nose, the whole 9 yards. Drink coffee. Eat it up. Come on in. But as far as no updates and continuing to talk about just the same thing over and over, this is why this is the best community on YouTube. Yesterday, did a show in the afternoon about Kyron Horman. You guys piled in as if it just happened and it's been almost 13 years, or caught it on the replay. I mean, you could grow a garden on the amount of dust that's on that police file. But we're in here talking about it, keeping it going, keeping it going. Or brand new cases like Scotty, which is still tearing my gut up. I got a lot of issues with that case. I'm probably going to have to do a live this afternoon about Scotty. So anyway, so when someone says there's no updates, she's just talking about old things. Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens when you're advocating for a missing child. That's what happens. I'm sorry. MJ said, I agree. It wasn't an abduction. And if she wandered off, someone would have found her or at least some clothing she was wearing that day. Everything you said makes so much sense. There's no excuse for Candace to say they won't find her there unless she knows something more. None whatsoever. John Taylor said, how many people lately have been arrested for cold cases up to 40 years and being arrested? God bless DNA. You know, that is for sure. Horrible. Horrible. But also in Tennessee, look at the case of Holly Bobo. Up until Summer Wells, Holly Bobo was the most expensive search and investigation in Tennessee. Summer has surpassed that. It took over 2 years for them to find her remains, and they still brought people to justice. So you can bitch and bitch and bitch all you want, but the clock's ticking. Seb said, when they are standing in front of the judge and jury, all of these stupid shenanigans come up, it's going to make matters even worse on them. If that isn't the truth. We were just talking last week about Gannon and Letitia's interview with Spencer Ware. Spencer Ware is now being called as a witness. That interview she did is evidence. They also did they served a lot of warrants to Facebook. So I have a feeling the stuff that she was putting on social media might come into play. Also, we talked about Terry Horman yesterday in the Kyron Horman case, an email that she had sent to a news station. Those things come back to haunt them. So have fun. Keep doing your thing. It only makes matters worse. K for Summer, and I don't understand this YouTube name considering the comments, but she said, Candace is not a suspect. She was never named, and you keep saying she is. And that is slander on her name. I don't need to slander Candace. She does a good job on her own. Let me explain this. I get it. We've heard Lawson say everyone's a person of interest until we find Summer. We've also heard Lawson use the word suspect. I get that he didn't spell it out for you, so I'm going to help a little bit. They took Candace's phone. She was the last with Summer. They told several people not to talk to Candace. Don't communicate with Candace, they told them. They also took Hunter's phone. Now, they did not take Hunter's phone because they thought Summer had a phone on her and might reach out to Hunter, and they wanted to intercede the call. They took Hunter's phone because he had been with Candace that day in his communications with Candace. That being said, I also understand it's floating around the tubes that it's been suggested that if you have a credible tip to give it to Candace. No. This made a lot of people come unglued. TBI is aware of this. So is Hawkins County. And it was said the same to anyone that spoke to them. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. If you look at my banner, it's been the same banner for almost 2 years. Summer Wells is still missing. 800 TBI find. It will never say Summer Wells is still missing, call Candace. It'll never say that. Never. That is ludicrous. So when Lawson says, everyone's still a suspect, he is talking about Candace. He's never said the mother's fully cooperative. We know other cases where the parents aren't suspects. And what Athena Strand, that is an example. Parents are not suspects. We're not looking at them. Michael Vaughn, even though people wouldn't listen, they're fully cooperative. Finally, the chief spelled it out. But for Summer, Candace is very much the center of this. Almost as much as Summer, and Summer's the one missing. I don't know where this craziness comes from. So speaking of craziness, I'm going to bring up Fine Art on Fire, and we're going to talk about a little bit of craziness from last night. Now, I don't talk about other creators on this channel, so when I bring this up, it's not about the creator, not about anybody on panel, not about this t-shirt shit or anything. It's all about Candace. 100% about Candace. So we're just going to focus right on Candace, and a very weird exchange that was sent to me. A very weird exchange that makes me wonder about Dawn on many, many levels. We already know what happened in October of 2020 when Dawn showed up from Utah, and there's another man in his house. There's another man in his house. He gets into it with Candace. She calls the police. Now Dawn catches a charge. And he stays with Candace after all of that. About this time last year, she was talking to different channels and she was saying Slash Day is coming. She's done with Dawn. She doesn't love Dawn. Your guess is as good as mine as to why Dawn hangs around for this crap. Because he hung around the crap even before Summer went missing. It's the craziest thing. Let's see what our friend Fine Art on Fire has to say, because we've been going back and forth about the situation, particularly with law enforcement, and he got a lot to say. You got a little bit of background noise.
Well, let me go to a different room, but I'm on here. How is everyone?
Everybody, so far, everybody's in a chatting mood.
All right, is it a little quieter over here?
Yeah, how's it going?
Perfect. I'm doing well. I'm, I had to tweak my schedule so I could get up this early in the morning. It's all good so far.
And we very much appreciate that. Reggie said, here we go. Reggie said, exactly. Just last weekend, she said, this is Candace, that if things don't work out with her and Dawn, she's going to get her a cowboy. Okay, this is something that if I said, even as a joke, my husband would take offense to. He'd be like, do what? Is that cowboy going to pay your bills? Yeah, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's not something I would say out loud in front of my spouse. I wouldn't say that anytime, but in front of anybody, but definitely not in front of my spouse.
No. Well, and like I said, I can't figure out what winds his clock. I don't know if it's the drugs and alcohol or what she's got on him. But when that whole debacle went down, way before Summer went missing, about 6 months before Summer went missing, when he shows up from Utah to his own property, his own house, and she's got another man there. The police get involved. Her mom drives the other man to South Carolina, good old Grandis, and he catches a charge, to which got escalated when he got his DUI. He had to serve a little bit of time in county, almost a year, and he hung around for that.
Yeah, that's the strangest thing I can ever see. I mean, it's he's either that type of a simp or there's something she's got something on him, which I I have to think, I often look at Don like he's just this big idiot and he's a bumbling fool and he don't know what's going on with Summer and he plays that card very well. But then I just can't pass up what Dudley said about him, how he was the day before and why he fired Dudley the day before. I mean, people can say what they want about Dudley, but Dudley's the only one here that doesn't have a reason to lie. And if he did want to hurt Don, why would he lie to hurt Don when he could tell the truth and hurt Don worse in this situation? So I have to put a lot of credit in what Dudley said about Don on Monday. So that makes me think he might not be as big of an idiot as he puts on to be. So well, it's a tough one with that guy. I'd like to talk to him in person.
It's a tough one for sure. And you're right about Dudley. I mean, he has all of these other people. You can't 100% take their, they're not salt of the earth people, okay? And they all have their own nastiness that they don't want to come out. I mean, Allie's lost her children.
All right.
Allie has lost her children. Dudley has nothing to hide. I mean, no one's going to take his children. I mean, for what? Saying that, what went on when they worked together?
Right.
But all
And
these
it,
other people have stuff to cover for and everything. I mean, yeah, well, I'm not even going to say that name because it's like Beetlejuice. It'll show up. I'm not even going to touch it. But no, you're right. So let's look at this. This went down last night and it was sent to me. Like I said, it doesn't matter the channel. You already know the channel. I'm not talking about the channel. I'm not talking about the host. I'm not talking about anyone on panel. Just Candace's reaction. At first, she has a profile picture of a dog. And the minute that she realizes Ernie is there, oh, watch this. Woo!
But yeah, it's insinuating.
Ernie.
Is that Ernie?
Yeah, that's Ernie. That's his name.
Yeah, it's Ernie.
Okay, come up, Ernie, if you want
Yeah,
to.
he needs to come up and say hi, the old
Yeah.
stranger.
Get up here,
Ernie.
Ernie.
Everybody's saying that you ditched me the other day when you come up here, which I know Ernie. Ernie's in and out all the time, so Ernie don't.
In and out.
Yeah, he ditches everybody.
Yeah,
He does.
been trying to call him for weeks. Freaking won't even answer his phone.
I know. Ernie's just Ernie.
Unless he wants to be mean to me. Then he'll send me a message. Oh,
But yeah, I mean, he's more than welcome. Don B, if you want to come up here and you got things to say, well, you need to come up here and apologize to Candace. This is your chance to make things right. There's Ernie on.
I'd like to talk
Hey,
to
Ernie.
Don.
Hey,
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
pretty good.
Well,
Do you remember me, Ernie?
Uh,
I do remember you. Okay.
We got
Here's-
Candace lips up here.
Okay.
hey,
Right there. The minute she hears his voice, she turns on the camera.
and oh boy, she looks like a 16-year-old schoolgirl. Did you see her face light up? It looked like a light bulb.
Ooh,
Right.
she is blushing and gushing. Only way I mean, if I put myself in Dawn's shoes, if this was my husband, not that my husband would do this, if I saw this interaction between him and another female, what is this, March? Okay, I would still be pissed about this in November. Okay, Thanksgiving, I'd be like, why don't you have that bitch cook your turkey? Remember that bitch you talked to on panel? You had to turn your camera on for?
Yeah. Matter of fact, one time, I guess this happened before I was born, but my dad went somewhere. My mom was in the car, and they went to a drive-through somewhere there in Tennessee. And apparently, the whoever was working at the restaurant, the girl was hitting on my dad. And my dad didn't necessarily shoot it down, but he's kind of like me. He's a gentleman, so he's not just going to cuss her out or something. So he just kind of let it go on and pretend it wasn't happening. My mom to this day still hasn't let him live that down. It pisses her off that he didn't shut that lady down right away. So
Uh-huh.
I don't understand why Don would let that go on for a minute. It wouldn't be happening at my house.
No, no. I cannot believe this. And I don't care about the t-shirt or any of that other stuff. Just watch Candace and how she reacts when old Earn the Burn comes on.
Stranger,
How you doing?
I'm
She's
doing
doing
all
great.
right. How you doing?
Oh my
She's
God,
doing
is that
great.
Candace?
She's doing great. She's
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
great.
Well, Candace, you looking pretty good today.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
trying my best.
Her
That's
hair's
good.
all long and stuff.
She's doing good, Ernie. She's doing real
Looks
good.
like straight and dried up and got
Oh,
your
yeah.
headphones set on. Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Living,
that's good.
living the good life.
I
Well,
love
that's
you,
good.
Jinky.
That's her new nickname, Can Can.
Can.
Tin
Well,
Tin.
What's
That's
today's
what we call
conversation
Ben
about,
Gilroy.
y'all?
Tin, we call we
Don
don't call him
B's
Tin.
making
Don B and his bull crap.
he's making t-shirts with Summer's name on it and selling it. This right here.
Find
Ugly
somewhere
too.
where else to listen. Wow.
Yeah.
Why would he
Candace-
do that? He ain't got no reason to be doing that.
Well,
And I
right.
did
and
a
you-
little- Anyway, no one cares about a t-shirt or any of that other stuff. Did you see her suddenly become 16 years old? It was like good Lord, did she get her period watching that? She came unglued.
It was funny. I also noticed I didn't want to just talk in the middle of it, but when Ernie first started talking, he was like talking to everybody, and she answered like he was talking directly to her. I started laughing.
She turned that right on. And he goes, wow, Candace, you straightened up. You got your headset on. That's all he's got for her. I don't know about you ladies, but if all a man could say to me is, you got your headset on, that I would be like, well, looks like we're going nowhere with this conversation. And for people to say, oh no, she goes on camera all the time. Oh, da, da. That wasn't about Ernie. That wasn't anything about Don. Well, then what is this?
But as far as being in love with him anymore, I am done. He just doesn't understand how and what I feel. Right.
Pretty cut and dry to me. Why does Don put up with all of this disrespect? Is it the headset? Does the headset do it for him?
It must be the headset.
What does headset stand for, ladies? What's going on here?
I gotta give Ernie the credit though. I mean, the poor old boy. He's a good old boy. He didn't want to, just like I said, cuss her out. He's trying to be nice to her, and that was pretty good on the fly, having to come up with something nice to say, and he pulls out headset.
I don't know how I would take that. Hey, stranger. And you turn that camera on, and he's like, oh, is that Candace? Oh, doesn't Candace look good? Oh, Candace, you got all straightened out and you got a headset on. That's it. I don't even know what to say. All right, so let's get to the matter at hand. And that's what you and I have been going back and forth about. And that is, what the hell is going on? Okay, now RJ was on and he said that they are still doing searches. Mainly drone, but we haven't seen an organized search in a year.
Right. And I was about to say, who is they that's doing these searches? Is it just somebody out there flying their drone, or is this the actual, Hawkins County PD, which I doubt. I doubt Hawkins County's got enough money for a drone, to be honest with you.
Well, that's what I was wondering too. But they had, they had extensive searches for her when she first went missing in June of 2021. And as much as we complain about Sheriff Lawson, he's really the only one. I was going through old footage of TBI press conferences and stuff like that. And within a few days, I think it was Ansley Daniel that asked him, it sounds like her voice anyway, said, are there any persons of interest? And he said, everybody's a person of interest until we find Summer. You know how he talks. Every sheriff and chief of police have their catchphrase. Maybe that's just his. I don't know. But if you truly think she's just wandered off out in the woods, you don't say you have a person of interest. We're just looking for Summer. We don't think there's anything to it. She's just out here in the woods somewhere.
Right. You know, that guy takes the cake. It's he's the one that has the authority. The TBI and FBI or anybody else can't just come in and say, we're going to come in here and help you. He has to ask them. You know, due to the way the laws work, the sheriff's like the highest law official in the county, so he has to go to them and ask them to come in. As long as he's just sitting on his ass and not asking them, they're never going to show up to help. So I really don't think anything's getting done, to be honest with you.
Nope. RJ lives there. He said it was TBI that was operating the drone. Do you know how long ago that was, RJ? If you don't remember, it's no big deal. So without finding Summer, you're really not going to have any crack in the case, if you know what I mean. I mean, I use a really stupid metaphor if you want to know the truth, because, I mean, if I'm getting ready to go to town and I can't find my keys, well, I go look for my keys. But if they're in my purse, there's nothing to look for. So it's like without finding Summer, nothing happens except for just a bunch of bullshit.
Right? And checking the voicemail, hoping somebody calls in and tells them where she's at.
Yeah, you left me quite a comment about that. You were like, checking your voicemail. That comes from Pruitt. He was talking about his day-to-day, if y'all remember, and said when he gets to work, he checks his voicemail, follows up on other tips, credible tips, I'm sure, the ones that haven't gone to Candace this week, and then he gets on with his day. Is that how we look for a missing child? I don't know. I've never had to do it.
I can't think of anything more important that's ever happened in Hawkins County than a 5-year-old child being missing. I mean, what is his day to day? He goes out and hunts for stolen toolboxes at the pawn shop. I mean, what the hell's he doing?
Wow, that you said it. You said it. You're the lead investigator. What more important police work do you have to do in Hawkins County? You have a missing 5-year-old child. 7 now. She's 7.
Right. And finding this child would probably make his career. That might be the difference in him moving up to TBI or something and getting, you know, more than his $12 an hour or whatever Hawkins County's paying him. But you'd think this would be, if for nothing else, it would be priority just for his own motivations, you know?
Yeah.
Even if he was just a stingy bastard, he would do it for himself, you would think. But I can't figure it out why nothing's going on over there. I mean, that would make these people if they found her. I mean, it's not like they're having murders every day. I mean, seriously, you know, 99 times out of 100 in Hawkins County, they're either getting somebody for drunk driving or a simple drug case or something like that. They don't have kingpins or you know, mafiosos and shootings and drive-bys and shit like that, like they do out here on the West Coast. I just can't figure out what the hell they're doing, and why whatever that is so much more important.
Well, Wolfcat said he sits behind his desk and does nothing. They keep talking about this CPS thing with the boys, and he said, well, it bleeds over into this. But we also know that the CPS is a different agency than the sheriff's department. So CPS is doing their thing, and let's face it, they're taking their sweet ass time. They didn't remove the boys till almost August. Pruitt said because of instances, not just one thing, instances. And don't think Candace is not one of those instances.
Right.
Now, here we are almost 2 years from when they were taken, and I think Don and Candace have a court hearing, I believe in May. So that's not in any hurry to be taken care of. And also CPS, they're sort of at limbo too because they don't have any clarification as to what happened to Summer. Did she wander away from her home or is there foul play?
Well, if you're asking me, there's foul play. But honestly, to be my theory this whole time is I think they either sold her or traded her or gave her away, something like that. That's what I think. You know, because why else would Don have been upset the day before? Because he knew it was coming. You don't know somebody's going to drown in the lake tomorrow and be upset and fire your employees to cover it all up for somebody drowning, because you wouldn't know they were going to drown. And I mean, you might if you're going to do the drowning, but I don't think that's what happened.
No.
Especially not with Hunter there as a witness, you know.
And if it's foul play, well, I said that wrong. If she simply just wandered out, off of her own property, like 5-year-olds do, to her own accord, left her own property, wandering around, then why do you need Hunter's phone? You dropped off Hunter at 2:30 in the afternoon. You called 911 at 6:30. You said she'd been gone 2 minutes, 10 minutes, possibly since 5:30. I don't know. But Hunter was not anywhere around. He was doing something else. Why would you need Hunter's phone if she wandered off?
You wouldn't.
Mm-mm.
You know, I don't know if Hunter really knows what happened, because I think him being that age, I think he would have cracked by now. That'd be way too much stress. You know, I've been young and known big boy things, and not have been able to tell anybody. Eventually, you got to tell one of your friends or something just to get it off your chest, and then once you tell one person, it's the cat's out of the bag. You know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that would happen by now. That would be way too much for a kid that big to carry by himself. So I don't think he really knows what happened, but you know, he probably does know a lot of details around. He paints a picture as far as the timeline. They can nail that down to be able to figure out where she could have gone, or you know, as far as Candace and this, that, and the third. But they definitely wouldn't need his phone if she wandered off. No.
No, they weren't investigating the tail of the twisted T.
Matter of fact, I giggled my butt off a minute ago when you said something about it's not like Summer had a phone and she might try to call Hunter. So
What the hell you need Hunter's phone for?
right.
Back to this comment I have, I'm slandering Candace's name because she's not a suspect. I have never heard that she's not. I have never once heard Lawson say that she is not. I've never heard TBI say that there's no foul play. I can't slander her name. She's almost the epicenter of this. Everything that we know from June 15th has come directly from Candace or through another channel. She's used Dawn to put it out there. Dawn's been her big puppet.
Right. And if it's slander, I wish she would go ahead and sue us, because I can't wait to get her on the stand and get discovery with her.
Don't threaten me with a good time. When Timmy brought that up about a month ago, I did a show about it, and I said, this is the only good idea Timmy's ever had, is when he said he was going to sue. I said, do it. I volunteered. That girl volunteered. I was going to let him sue Kat, but she's in the United Kingdom. I volunteered at Muscles and Mascara. Sue her, sue Trevor. They can sue you, because turnabout's fair play. You sue me, then we have to answer my questions. Why would I have said the things about you that I said?
Right.
Jackie 11, thank you for reminding me of this. Do you remember this, Fine Art? Jackie said, remember when the DA said it is more complicated because of the players in this drama?
Yeah, which that brings me back to, I think she was sold, because if it was any other type of an accident or something, all these people wouldn't know about it and there wouldn't be players. It would just be she got hurt and a couple people went and buried her somewhere. Um, you know, but when you've got this Jose boy, and who knows if that guy really died or not. I mean, there's no way, we don't have any way of proving that. And if he did, boy, wasn't that convenient. So there's way more to that. The way those guys, remember how they came down from New York and then left in emergencies, like there wasn't any hotels in Kingsport that night. So let's don't drive over to Morristown 30 minutes away and check over there where there's, you know, several motels that nobody would even think of going to for the NASCAR. Let's drive all the way back to New York instead. I
Mhm.
mean, what the hell kind of plan is that?
Marlena said Don has tried selling his kid before. Why wouldn't he now? A lot of very odd things went on after, which their life is odd, don't get me wrong. But after Don left for Utah, while he was in Utah, we have the caravan that comes down from New York. They drop off Jose like he's a stray dog. He's all holed up at the house playing daddy to the kids, cooking them dinner and everything. Dawn
Right.
shows back up. She puts on Facebook they're selling the property. Dawn shows back up in October of 2020, as if he had some nerve coming to his own home. And all hell breaks loose. Candace calls the police. Okay, the next day, everything's dropped except for Dawn having a firearm or whatever that was. But the domestic violence is dropped, and it's not that easy. You can't say someone whopped me in the head and the next day say, never mind, they didn't. The state will pick up the charges. Difference is, this is just my opinion, it's much like Sarah Boone. She's so blackout drunk, she can't even remember that she called the police the day before. She has no recollection of it.
Wow. It's just,
And as far as Jose, I don't know. Because I know people that have scoured the internet and cannot find a death notice. I understand that people don't put obituaries together like they used to, but
right,
not even a notice of death anywhere.
for sure. It's yeah, there's more than meets the eye with that. And see, I knew that see, and the way it works in court is if they say if a witness lies on one thing, you may as well count everything they're saying as a lie because you don't know if you can trust any of it. Well, if we apply that same thing to Jose, I know good and well he's lying when he said he went in the shower and took those kids out of the shower with Don. Bullshit. Don's the type of man, he would have killed your ass for that. There ain't no way you did that and Don just let you get away with it. So that tells me he lied on that. He's lying on who knows what else. So I don't believe anything he says after that. So who knows what his story is. And it was convenient how he said it. What'd he say about he threw his phone in the lake just because? So he come up with some reason why his phone got thrown in the lake. But it's not any. Why else would you throw a phone in the lake unless you really didn't want somebody to find it? It wasn't like you just gonna feed the fish to that day or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Why would you throw your phone in the lake? It's one bizarre story after another. And the minute that, people talk about their bizarre stories and start putting stuff together, they pull a good one. Like the other day, Tim put on the Find Summer Wells Facebook page that they're offering memberships for people to get to know all about Don, his life story, what makes him tick. We got that for free, buddy. We've seen him on the toilet. We got all that. We don't need to pay for that.
I can't believe anyone would pay for that. But that guy just takes the cake. I mean, it's like he really is that stupid that he's hiding right out in the open, but he can't be because like I said, 50% of me wants to believe he's so dumb that he really don't know what Candace has got going on. But on the other hand, I can't believe that because I really, really believe what Dudley had to say about Monday. I know people have told me I'm all kinds of idiots and everything else for putting so much faith in Dudley, but I can't help it. I really do trust what Dudley said that day.
Dudley has nothing to cover. Dudley has nothing to lie about. I'm not saying Dudley is like this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. I'm sure you can dig up a lot of stuff on Dudley if you try. But when you look at the rest of them, they have things to lose. Look at Allie. Holy shit, if she didn't step in it, she's lost her kids.
Right? And that's hard to do, really. You know, I see these hoodlums live down the street from me. They inherited their grandparents' house or whatever, and I don't know if it's great grandkids or what it is now. But there's a whole army of them live out there, and it's unbelievable. And we can't get shit done about it. And cops are over here after their kids all the time. I'm talking these kids are 13, 14 years old, and the cops are here at least twice a week. And they ain't lost their kids yet, and I've seen them do the worst of them. And so I don't know what you have to do, especially in East Tennessee, because it's more frowned upon out here than it is in East Tennessee. So I don't know what the hell Allie had to do to be that bad, but she's got to be a real winner.
You got to really be trying. That's for sure. You've got to really be trying on a lot of levels. You have a issue at the house where the police show up. 9 times out of 10, CPS is going to get involved. They're going to find out, hey, mom and dad are getting along now, but we want to make sure this doesn't happen again. So there very well could have been a report opened in October of 2020 and 6 months later closed. I don't know. But after Summer went missing, they weren't in any big hurry to get the boys. And then you hear Pruitt said other instances. Because they didn't get the boys till July 26th. But by then, the FBI card unit had already deduced that there was no abduction. So they were like, something could have happened up on that hill at the hands of one of them. We got to get these boys out of here. I don't know. I'm just talking out loud.
It could have been, or it could have been the same thing. There's no abduction. If they put her in a car and drive her down the road and put her and take her out and put her in a different car of the person they sold her to, I don't think that would be an abduction. So I don't know, but I definitely don't believe she walked off. And I really don't believe that she got hurt and passed away. I think there was foreknowledge of it. And I also put a lot of credit into that video of her dancing. Because myself personally, one of my big things in my company donates heavily to is sex trafficking. It's something that really bugs me. I don't really work in it myself because it's easy to get blamed for things when you're hanging out with that type of people trying to catch them, and I don't need that in my business. So I'd rather just pay somebody else to do it. So I donate a lot of money to that type of stuff, and therefore I do see a lot of the things, and that's the exact type of an advertisement they would make. Because as far as just the average person, if you post that video of her out there dancing in the rain in front of some fire barrel on YouTube or something, or Facebook or any of that shit, the regular good people that go to work would just think it's a little girl dancing in the rain. There's nothing to it. But them sickos know how to put these signs together, the colors, and it all means something. And I'm pretty sure that was an advertisement that she was for sale. I mean, it makes too much sense. And I'd have to go back and think on it. It's been a while since I thought about it, but I'm pretty sure it ties back to why Don took the new car to work that day. It's because he needed that GPS to say he was at work all day. And meanwhile, like Dudley or whoever said, I think Dudley and the Jose both said that he drove the work truck some, the red work truck that he borrowed from work that he would take on trips or whatever. And all of a sudden we're missing. One of the things we're supposed to be looking for is a red work truck with ladder racks and shit. It sounds convenient. A hell of a lot like the truck they're all saying Don drives at work. So maybe Don come home in the work truck, picked her up and took her wherever she went, and then took the work truck back. And while the car says he was there the whole time, and of course he probably left his cell phone there too. That's why he's got 7 or 8 alibis. He had the phone that had left at work. He had the car parked at work. Everything was parked at work, pointing that he was at work. Meanwhile, he had a burner phone and a different truck that don't have a GPS on it. He went and did his dirty work in and came back.
Well, his work truck isn't red, though. His work truck is white.
No,
And I
not his work truck. There's like the owner has a truck that he drives sometimes. It's the red work truck with the ladder racks. That's what Jose and Dudley said.
Oh, I remember. Okay, yeah. I remember that now. I remember that now.
And I always thought at that time, why did nobody else ever think about that? And at the time, I wasn't into really typing and commenting on here. I just kind of got into that recently on your channel, but I was wondering why nobody ever put that together. We're looking for a red work truck with ladder racks, and they're saying Don drives he drives his boss truck or whatever. Sometimes it's a red work truck with ladder racks. I mean, come on.
Well, and also we're going on 2 years and nobody can point to who has the red truck. And they're like the red, we just want to talk to the person. I mean, they're not a suspect, anything like that. We just want to see if there's anything they saw that day. And it's always been so vague,
Right. Oh, here's another one that a lot of people don't know. Tennessee is in the top 5 worst states for S predators in the United States. And Sneedville, which is Hancock County, is just a little bit over 30, 45 minutes away from Rogersville, is the worst, densest area of predators in the state. And so that also makes me not feel good about any of this.
Well, how long has it been since you've been to Rogersville? Because you're originally from there.
I was at my sister's wedding down there a couple years ago. It was not long after, it was probably, when was that? It was, I think like a year and a half ago, just before Thanksgiving, 2 Thanksgivings ago. It was after summer got going, and I thought about driving by there and going to look at it, but at the time I just thought I better not, because I'm the type of guy that if I go by and Don gives me any lip, I might just get out and smack the shit out of him. And so I thought maybe I should probably just stay out of here, because it's going to end up going bad if the wrong things happen while I'm there.
Yeah, no point in taking the tour. No point in taking the tour. Well, no, look at this with me, because if you look for, this was just a few days in, This is June of 2021. At this point, we had already heard not the resurrection, well, that Don believes in the resurrection, but he had already said that she's just gone. She just gone, buddy. But we hear from Lawson, who says, well, he mentions persons of interest. If she just wandered off, that wouldn't even be a fleeting thought.
Nope.
Say anything if he wants to. What time was she last and who reported
her parents reported her missing right around 6:30 p.m.
But when was she, did they say when she was last seen? I know that she was reported missing around that time. Was she last seen earlier in the afternoon or the day even?
That time is varied because they were searching for their child themselves.
I have a question for Captain. Just wanted to see, are you asking for assistance from other agencies? I know yesterday you all mentioned 19.
Okay, listen to that again. It's like they're placing Dawn there. Her parents reported her missing around 6:30. Now, yeah, Don could have been calling on his way home from work. He said he said that time is varied. We still don't have a time when she went missing. We've heard 2 minutes, 10 minutes. That time is varied because they had been searching themselves. Are you talking about Grandis and Candace and the boys?
That I wonder about that a lot, because I think a lot of people get confused with the Appalachian semantics with this anyway. And it could be, they could be talking about Don, or it could be talking about Candace and Grandis. But the same thing with the saying Candace went for a walk or whatever. I kind of believe that if Candace already had the story made, if she would have told the 911 that she walked out to help her mom with the thing, next door, whatever, I could see where the 911 people could confuse that and think like she went for a walk somewhere, not realizing her mom really lives like in the driveway. So I could see where that could get lost in the transmission, where the 911 operator heard her say she walked to her mom's next door, and so she's saying, telling the dispatcher's now telling the cop that's on his way, hey, she walked to her mom's next door, and then not understanding next door is really in the driveway. And I think a lot of people put too much into that as well. So I I'm not overly confident sometimes when people are asking about those things with the semantics and the way these hillbillies talk out there.
Well, and I mean, I have my own lingo too. If I say I'm going to town, that can be anything from the grocery store to the post office to get gas or go to the tanning bed. So, I mean, and some people would say, well, she said town. She must mean uh downtown or something. 2 minutes, 10 minutes, that's a common thing. But
Right.
911 needs to make the clarification because they said her father called. Her mother went on a run, not her mother went to her mother's house, to the grandmother's house or whatever. But like you said, it's right there in the damn driveway. I mean, it's a stone's throw. You could walk out Dawn and Candace's door, spit, and hit Grandis's tuna can on wheels.
Right. I'm wondering how they got that thing at the top of the hill when a four-wheel drive will barely make it up that driveway.
Yeah, they helicopter that thing up there. How'd they get the thing back down? Because it had all that shit and everything all around it. I mean, she was set up. She was set up like she had her own homestead there. I mean, it was set up.
Right. Boy, she got the hell out of Dodge quick after this, though, huh?
I mean, like old pallets and stuff. I'm like, look, when they moved that heap on wheels, that took some doing, and her and Candace didn't do it. I would love to know who helped them get all the crap out from inside of it, because I mean, it was stacked to the brim. So much stuff. All that crap from around. I mean, hubcaps from 1968. I don't know how did they get all that stuff out from around there, dry rotted tires, and get it down that driveway. They're crafty, man. If they can do that, they can do anything.
Well, exactly. Imagine how quick they could have got rid of Summer.
Don't discount it, man. Don't discount it. But I do prefer to think of Candace in a Richard Simmons wig and a sweatband taking a run on June 15th. I have that in my head. Don't take that from me.
I know, right? And that's what another thing makes this so personal for me. That's the June 15th, my birthday. So not only am I from the area, it's also happened on my birthday. And I already have a passion for helping kids that I think are in the same situation as her. And it's just, man, this one's really hit close to home for sure. More ways than one.
Yeah.
Agencies helping out with the quick turnover in personnel, it sounds like, that are searching. Are you all looking for other agencies in surrounding counties to help? And what is the hours that you all are searching?
Yeah, so hours of operation this time are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We have, like Leslie stated yesterday, we have utilized at this time 19 different agencies throughout the state of Tennessee. We also have multiple agencies outside of our jurisdiction in burning states, and also expanding to Middle Tennessee to having these teams on standby.
You talked about getting tips. Can you give me an idea of the magnitude of tips that you've gotten so far? And with the amount of time that's passed, is there concern, that it's less likely to find the longer it goes?
Of course, the longer this goes, the more concerned we get. At this stage, we've received nearly 50 leads. None have panned out so far.
50?
Yes, approximately 50 at this point.
Who does Summer live with, and is there any history with this family with law enforcement or anything that you're aware of?
Sheriff.
Summer lived with her parents and 3 siblings.
Are these her biological parents?
Okay, now I'm not going to get too much into it, but he is the sheriff. He knows how to he knows how to address the press. He knows how things are going to get misconstrued. So when he uses Summer in past tense and says she lived with her parents and siblings, because we know she doesn't live in the woods anymore. We don't think that she moved out to the woods. That's always really got me.
Mhm.
Mother and father,
Yes, ma'am.
is there any history of your office?
1 second. Sorry.
Is there any history of your office going to their home or anyone in the home? Is there any criminal history with family members?
The father has a criminal history.
Can you elaborate on that?
I don't have it with me.
Is any of the family persons of interest?
Everybody's a person of interest till we find Summer. The most important thing is find Summer. That's what.
Okay, so he doesn't answer that question, and this is a few days in. This
The
is just
notice the head nodding yes. I think that's like a Freudian slip. I was just noticing that, like his head's nodding yes at the same time he's saying everybody's a suspect.
He said, is any of the family a person of interest? He shakes his head yes, and then says, everybody's a person of interest until we find Summer. The most important thing is finding Summer. Now, why doesn't he just say right there, they're fully cooperating? You know, the rigmarole that we normally hear.
Right.
They're fully cooperating. And as of right now, we're just trying to find Summer. We believe she wandered off. But everybody's a person of interest. You don't need a person of interest for a child that just wandered off.
Right. These people are so corrupt over there and everything else. I wonder if the sheriff here even wants to find her, you know. I can't help but question if he doesn't have reason to not want her found. It'd be fun to dig into his finances. The real ones.
The real ones. I don't know. It's been one thing after another, but I can't help but go back to these before we knew anything. And you go back almost 2 years and it's like, well, hell, he could have easily said, well, no, we're just trying to find Summer. They know how to answer questions like that, but right from the get, he had said, he's the reporter. Let's look at it again.
You got to keep in mind, this guy's dad and his granddad before him, all these people were sheriffs. This guy's been raised to be a master bullshitter politician his whole life. Like, he's third generation master bullshitter.
So he would know when the press asks you about something about, is the family a person of interest? He would know not to shake his head yes and say everybody's a person of interest until we find Summer. Or would he not have been groomed to say everyone's fully cooperating, we're just trying to find Summer? Like I
Right.
said, I don't know him.
One would think he would know the difference.
Well, let's look at it again, because he didn't read his sheriff playbook that day.
Sorry.
Is there any history of your office going to their home or anyone in the home? Is there any criminal history with family members?
The father has a criminal history.
Can you elaborate on that?
I don't have it with me.
But notice he doesn't say the mom's lost all of her kids.
Do what? Go ahead.
Notice he doesn't mention Candace has lost every kid she's ever had.
No, and that's another source of contention with people. That's in the past.
That seems to me that's even worse than a fellow with a criminal history. I mean, hellfire, I got a criminal history. That doesn't make me a bad guy, but you've lost every kid you've ever had. I don't respect you. You know, I can respect a guy that might have stole something to feed his kids or whatever, but I can't respect somebody that's lost every damn kid they've ever touched.
See, and that's something that I cannot get around, period. I'm not taking up for Dawn. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking up for any of that. But when I look at Candace and I read, and I'm thinking about, now, according to her, she was, a teenager. She's dating a guy who's in his 40s. He made her do drugs and she didn't want to do the drugs, but she did the drugs. And then somehow doing the drugs, her 2 minor children, 2 and I think 6 months old, are abused. and she wanted them to have a better life, so she just let them do that. And I'm like, no, stop right there. We know what happened. We know what happened. Stop it right there, Steel Magnolia. Stop it. We know. So now here we are. History has repeated itself, and she has a violent temper. Okay, we've heard her. We've heard her when she gets in the jug. We've heard her.
Right. And this is the way she acts in public. Can you imagine what we don't see? I mean, that's the part that really scares me to death. The way she acts in public, just imagine how she acts around her kids that we don't see.
So the state of Wisconsin removes her children. She makes no strides to get these kids back, from what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
And I mean, and they have even, further abuse in the foster care system in Wisconsin. It is a horrible thing that happened to her children. One of the children, I'm not going to say which one, reaches out to her wanting to find out about her biological mother, and is told, after all those years and what she put her through, F off, never call me again. But we're supposed to overlook that and say, oh, but she learned her lesson and she was much better to the children she had with Dawn. No. Here with the state of Tennessee, one is gone. And then you also wonder, how come Tennessee does kinship placement? You couldn't find one family member to put the boys with? Not even one? They're with strangers. There's no grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle. I mean, the adults in the house, they're calling them like Bob and Sue.
Right.
And we're supposed to say Candace is a great person. She's got a great heart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know much about Candace's family other than Grandis, but you know, Don and all his family's from out in Utah, and there's a lot of weirdos out there. It's a big area for S predators and stuff as well. There's a lot of them out there. So, and it's been in his family this whole time. I mean, this is just weird people after weird people. Everybody they're related to is weird. I mean, you just don't end up a black sheep like that, you know. Like I'm a little bit of a black sheep in my family, but you know, I'm a little rough around the edges. But I don't do, you know, certain types of weird stuff. I just don't, you know. I even have a line where I draw, but you know, to be that type of weird, you just don't end up like that as the black sheep in the family. He's been taught to be as weird as he is when he gets into those S crimes and stuff, you know. So yeah, I don't blame him for not wanting to put him with any of their family, but that just goes to show you what type of filth we're working with.
What we're dealing with, yeah. I mean, I just can't imagine. I mean, unless they just wanted to keep the boys in state. I don't know. I don't like to get too much on that. Grandma Bunny said, banned from Walmart. How do you accomplish that? I've always wondered, and I'm not going to try it. I don't like Walmart anyway. I've banned Walmart. Walmart doesn't have a chance to ban me. But how bad do you have to be? It's not she can't go to the Walmart in Kingsport. We're talking nationwide. If you see that mug, get it out of here.
Right. It wouldn't surprise me if Walmart's got facial recognition and everything now too. So
you know what? I'm wondering if they do, because I came across a news article. This was a few months ago. Nothing to do with this case. But a woman, she had also gotten banned from the Walmart, and she was in another Walmart. They must, because she was arrested for trespassing because she had been banned from the Walmarts.
it wouldn't surprise me at all. All the Indian casinos out here in Washington have them. And you don't even have to, when you walk up, you don't even have to show your ID. You walk up in front of this thing and your ID pops up on their screen and they check you out before you come in that way now.
Wow. Well, it had to do with said something about a BOMB. I can't say it on YouTube, but you know what I mean.
For sure. Exactly. I mean, that's
Everybody's a person of interest till we find Summer. The most important thing is find Summer. That's what it's all about. That's why we're doing the ground searches, aerial searches, and finding her is first and foremost.
Are you concerned that this could be an abduction at this point? So much time has passed?
Everything's on the table. I mean, we're looking at everything, crossing every T, dotting every I, and turning every stone. That's why we have two different operations. Captain's operation is search and rescue. And law enforcement operation is look into this incident and find Summer.
Is the father's criminal record irrelevant in this investigation?
No, sir.
I've also
Okay, he said, is the father's criminal history irrelevant in this investigation? And he said, no, sir. I thought he said relevant. I got to hear this without the closed captions.
there's been speculation of the
And finding her is first and foremost.
Are you concerned that this could be an abduction at this point after so much time has passed?
Everything's on the table. I mean, we're looking at everything, crossing every T, dotting every I, and turning every stone. That's why we have two different operations. Captain's operation is search and rescue. And law enforcement operation is look into this incident and find Summer.
Is the father's criminal record irrelevant in this investigation?
No, sir.
He said irrelevant.
That's what it sounded like.
He said irrelevant. Did you guys hear it again? Irrelevant. And Lawson said, no, sir. If he knows what irrelevant means.
Right.
He said, I thought he said relevant. So on the closed captions, it says irrelevant. We listened to it again. He said irrelevant. And he said, no, sir. So you can take that wandering off stuff and shove it up your, you know what? We
Right.
know what's going on here.
And when I used to live in that area as a kid before I came in as a teenager, before I joined the military, and I was knowing I was going to go in the military, I was in Civil Air Patrol for many years. And I've been on several searches and actually found a couple. But every time, I mean, we would be on, let's say we got a call and say somebody wandered off. Both times that I went for lost people in my situation, it was mentally handicapped people had wandered off, and then the third one was a crashed airplane. But the handicapped people that wandered off, we knew right away that they had wandered off. I mean, the police told us that we're not looking for a suspect. We don't have to go try to find them buried in a barn or anything, that they're going to be just somewhere here in the woods. So, you know, I mean, they knew right away. So the fact that they don't know tells us, I mean, quite a bit, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was just having a conversation yesterday. And I said, the fact that, well, I mean, just in August, which this is March now, so it's been a while. Court K tweeted Leslie at TBI, and she responded. She does respond, and she said, "This is a criminal investigation. We haven't ruled out foul play." Well, now we're coming on 2 years, so you've come across something foul. You're not imagining this,
Right. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Like I said, I don't think a whole lot's even being done about this. I don't think they're even looking too much anymore. I mean, even with the guy that's out there with the drone, I mean, they've got a guy that I'm sure that works for TBI, and that's his job is to fly the drone. And he's only got so many cases in Tennessee, so he probably goes out on the first and he'll look for Billy Bob, and on the second he'll go out and look for Joanne, and on the third he'll come over and fly around Summer's house, and on the fourth he'll go, you know, I mean, he's got to look busy, so I can't imagine that if there was help flying around the other day that they were doing some massive search. It was probably just her number came up and he had to look busy that day, so that's where he went out and flew it at, you know. I mean, I really don't think a lot's going on to seriously try and find him. You know, he probably was looking and doing his job while he was out there, but like I said, you know, it was just the day that he had to go out and dedicate to her case. That's how I feel about it or see it.
You're not gonna find something you're not looking for, and I obviously am not the one that is in charge of allocating their money in Hawkins County or TBI. I do know that the director of the TBI, and you commented on this after a show I had said this. He went in front of the state Congress, Senate, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what group of people he was talking to. And he mentioned Summer Wells and talked about a particular aircraft that would be very helpful, they believe, in finding her. Well, just through a simple search, this aircraft looks through rock.
Yeah. Boy, that makes it sound like she wasn't sold if that's true, but it makes it sound even worse. But yeah, they use those when we were in the war over in the Middle East. They would try to find people hiding out in caves with them, and then they would send those bunker buster missiles in there and get them. It was pretty. They also use them down in Mexico to find those tunnels, drug tunnels and stuff, smuggling tunnels under the border. So, but if they think that would be helpful in finding Summer, that's probably not good news.
Well, I mean, for the TBI director to go and ask for this and use her name, they don't like to get that type of aircraft unless they have a reason for it. I mean, I don't know. That's just I've never seen it in a case before anyway.
Right. Not just out bullshitting around. They could be looking for more important stuff with it, if besides just bullshitting around, hoping that they might find her, with it. I don't see that they would allocate that type of money. But the fact that he says he thinks it would be helpful and he really wants it for her case, that doesn't make it sound good.
No, because it is super expensive. You have a airspace issue, and I mean, it's part of our Air Force, so that's just not something that they just do just because. We've got people thinking that if a child's missing, that you should just instantly start searching the landfill. There's way more to it, than what meets the eye.
For sure.
And once it comes out, it makes sense. It all makes sense once it all comes out.
And going back to that reminds me of something that happened a long time ago. Remember, we were just talking about him, Ernie. Probably a year ago, I remember him trying to get information out of Candace about some tunnels that's up there behind their place. And he then went up there and took a picture of some tunnels. And some way or another, he thinks that might be involved. And boy, that doesn't sound good if they're talking needing this airplane that hunts tunnels. And he thinks there might be some tunnels. And he's actually, the guy, he's a little goofy and does some weird stuff here and there. But I feel like he's got a good heart and he does try to do the right thing. And he has been down there and done the legwork in that area. He may be onto something. Who knows?
Could be. Because I mean, they just don't. I mean, unless the president's child is missing, they don't just pull out. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. But anyhow, oh, I got it in my eye. Absolutely crazy. I don't know what the hell is in my eye. I got an eyelash. Hang on.
I've also heard there's been speculation that the siblings in the household, it just wasn't sure if they were siblings at all.
They have three others besides Summer.
Older, younger,
Older.
sisters.
Older.
One more question, guys. Anybody have another question? Okay.
I had a question. We've heard about issues with communications between search teams regarding cell towers as well as radios. Can you elaborate on that? What those issues have been and how they've impacted the search?
Well, Captain, he can relate to that as far as law enforcement. We can't hardly communicate at all on our radios, and cell phones are out of the question. But thanks to AT&T and Verizon, he can tell you about that. They've been a big help to us. Go ahead.
Okay, how much of the communication problem would be a hindrance on not being able to find Summer and have more answers in the afternoon of June 15th, her disappearance?
That would be an easy fix if you really wanted to. I mean, unfortunately, you're not going to bullshit a guy like me with that because I have a ham radio license. I know for a fact we can take a VHF repeater and throw it up on that hill and be ready to go in 5 minutes, and I can have all the signal you want. So, he might bullshit the people about that, but he's not going to bullshit a radio guy about it.
Oh, no, I don't mean about the police out there communicating. They got walkie-talkies and stuff. But, they talked about how they pulled all the data from Dawn's phone, Candace's phone. Of course, they have Hunter's and he wasn't there. They have
Yeah.
Grandis's phone. So would there be a communication problem between their cell phones that they can't figure out their pings and where they would have been?
That could be possible because you know how it is when you're. Well, I don't know because nowadays with technology, they can pick it up. But if you go through dead areas, let's say you're going around a windy road and you're getting signal and losing signal, at the places it does pick up along that road, they could, they got sense enough to look at the map and figure out, okay, you're following down this road. So I'm not sure,
Yeah.
it's.
I think we have some confusion. We have an argument or something going on in chat about Jose. Jose was not in Tennessee in June of 2021. After everything went down at the house in October of 2020, he was gone. What he did for work, where he went, how he got there, I don't know. I don't care. But the FBI went and saw him. Again, why would you go see Jose? Why would the FBI go see Jose if she wandered off?
That's another one, and that's what I've always wondered was Jose really. I know he left, but are we sure he wasn't there on June 15th? I mean, there's really no way to prove that, and the fact they wanted to go talk to him puts a lot of light back to that direction towards him.
The FBI went and saw him a week after.
Right.
And he didn't know that Summer was missing at that time. That was a few days after. So again, from the get-go, they already believed that there was more to it than just she's out in the woods somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the fact, why would they go talk to him of all people? I mean, you know how many people I've come in contact with and helped and slept on my couch and everything else in the last year? I'm known for doing that. So why would they have picked out Jose out of all the people I've talked to in the last year to go drive clear over to South Carolina to talk to him when they can talk to my neighbors next door if you want to talk about me,
They also went and saw Dudley. But you have to remember all the people that they were blaming for having Summer. This one could have took her. That one could have took her.
Right. I mean, he could have, yeah. I mean, they could have said Jose did it. Who knows why they went there, but yeah. Dudley, I could understand why they wanted to talk to because especially if he was, even if they didn't say, even if Don didn't blame Dudley, I could still see why they would want to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
But I really do put a lot of faith in what he had to say. I mean, it's just I could end up with shit all over my face in the end, and he could be the biggest pile of shit of them all. And I hope not, because I really put a lot of faith in him, and I hope he's as good as God as I think he is. And like I said, I know we've all been young before, but as a 40-something-year-old man with kids, I don't think he's the same person he was when he was 20. The guy's trying to work and do his thing and make money and pay for his family. He's got a good-looking wife. They were dressed clean. They didn't have on their Budweiser T-shirt when they went out to meet with the other YouTube people, whatever the names are that interviewed them or whatever. They look like decent people and stuff. So I have to put a lot of faith in what he has to say. So I just can't discount none of it until I have a good reason to.
Well, and also you can't discount the fact that you have a little girl that's missing. And whether you haven't talked to your family in years or you're close-knit all the time, when Summer went missing, the people that were friends with the Wells at the time, with the exception of Robin, she's the only one that got tight with them afterward. She didn't trust him before. Suddenly, she's all about him. I wonder about that myself, but I'm not going to get into Robin right now. All of their friends jumped ship. I mean, they jumped ship real quick. I mean, Mary and Jeannie, of course, they called the TBI and they weren't very satisfied with, how quick that they worked on that. So they took their family story to YouTube. I don't really agree with that. I feel bad for, obviously the way that, what went on in all of their upbringings. I mean, not one friend. Usually friends will come out of the woodwork. They will come out of the woodwork to help their friends when something happens, like this.
Right.
Goodness, I've never had to do it. All of their people scattered.
Right. You would think if everything was on the up and up, even then that you just mentioned, the mayor or whatever out in Utah, you'd think maybe that one of them would volunteer even to come out to Tennessee and help with the boys while this got figured out. But yeah, they all got the hell out of Dodge for a reason, you know. They smell something, they don't want nothing to do with it. And that's what I'd say. I would love to still be in Tennessee right now. I know I'd have so much more information if I could be around people in that area, poke and prod and listen and be a fly on the wall and things. It's hard to do it from 3,000 miles away, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many things I can't figure out. It's quite the experiment in sociology, if you know what I mean. And it's not even about the area, it's about this group of people. There's lots of people in here from East Tennessee, and none of them can figure their asses out. They're like, I'm from there, and I don't know what the hell's going on.
Right.
You don't have to tell me how we talk over here. I get it. But I can't figure them out. How the hell, again, let's go back to just last night. You've got Candace gushing like a schoolgirl, turning on her camera, look at me and my headset to Ernie, and Dawn's okay with that. We go to, what I played earlier. She even mentioned she wasn't happy with the script. If you ask me, she wrote the damn script.
Right. I think Dawn's trying to.
After her mother was on WJHL and skated around important questions and didn't even place her own ass at the horse pond, when Candace was asked about that, she's like, oh, I don't know why my mom would say that. And then she argued and said her mom didn't say it. No, her mom did. Her mom said those things on WJHL.
The news.
But this is what Candace says.
But I'm letting you know how I feel about the whole script.
Right.
Interesting that
but
that
I'm letting you know how I feel about the whole
player,
script.
but so is
Right.
Robin from the church. I mean, that just seems like two unlikely parties. You know what I mean? I mean, this is just the weirdest damn thing I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been keeping up with these for a while, and I mean, this is just mind blowing right here.
Yeah. It makes you wonder what in the hell. I mean, I know Pruitt, police aren't really big about telling us what they have going on in their day-to-day. They're not like, well, I'm glad you called because I was just getting ready to call the TBI about something I came across. We know, we get it. So when he says, I just come in and check the voicemail, follow up on other tips, and then get back to my regular Hawkins County police work, it's like,
Checking pawn shops.
Do what?
I said checking pawn shops. Looking for the stolen toolbox.
Yeah, DUIs, meth, pawn fraud, and but you have a 5-year-old girl missing. That would be the only thing I would be thinking about throughout the day.
I know, and like I was saying earlier, I just can't believe even there's got to be a reason that they don't want to find her. I mean, that would be career making for this guy. Imagine if this Pruitt guy, he's probably getting. I mean, I think Hawkins County seriously starts their cops out at like $12 or $13 an hour. That's crazy. Out here where I live, it's like $65 an hour they start out, and he's talking about wanting people to quit YouTube and go down there. He's crazy in hell. There ain't nobody going to do that. You know, I understand he did it. He said it as a smart ass comment, but boy, that backfired on him.
That was the stupidest thing I've just about ever heard. He's like, we're taking applications. It's like, no, we want you to do your job.
Right. But
Your
that
job.
Career making for him. If he come out of here, some guy with no funding, no equipment, no nothing, and he found this 5-year-old girl and unraveled some big ring, some guy from Podunkville, East Tennessee, and he does this all by himself, but that would open his doors to the FBI or whatever. He could go out with a bang. I mean, even for his own personal reasons, aside from just being a good human being and trying to find a kid, even if for personal matters, he should be wanting to do this. But why are they not wanting to find it?
But then I think about the DA as well. I would think that a hungry DA that might, I mean, I don't know that he has any political aspirations or not. A lot of times the DAs have a way of getting into investigators' asses, sheriff's asses. Bring me something. Bring me something. I'm, you know,
Right.
what is going on over here? I need to know something. I've got these people I can't even have breakfast in this town. People keep coming up to me wanting to know when charges are going to be pressed or what's going on. Can somebody figure something out? What's up with the DA?
Right. The only thing, I mean, it doesn't look good. The only thing I can think of, it doesn't look good. I mean, being a little bit on I try to be a good human being now, but I haven't been my whole life, as you know. And I've been on the crooked side, so I think like a crook. And the only thing I can think of is why would all these people be all conspiring to not find this kid is because they're all in cahoots to not find this kid. I mean, it doesn't sound good, and I hope that's not the case, but that's my criminal mind telling me what's going on here.
I can't figure it out, and I can't figure out why all these people would be in it. I mean, unless they just don't care. Or if it's just like what Leslie says at the TBI, we have very little evidence as to what happened to her. What led up to her disappearance? We have very little evidence.
Right. Well, then kids sell for big money. There's you give some guy that makes $12 an hour, you give him an extra $100,000. You could get him to do all kinds of things. Same for the DA. If the sheriff, if the deputy makes 12, how much the sheriff make? 25. So the DA might make 30.
Mhm.
So I mean, you give a guy like that $100,000, you get him to do all kind of things. And who knows? It might not be. I understand Summer's the only kid missing, but there could be a ring that's doing all kind of shit down there. Who knows what they got going on?
Mhm.
And I wouldn't put it past none of them crooks down there. I know how them towns are. I'm from there. It's all, my family ran in them small town politics, and I had two uncles at the same time that was in there. I know how it works. I mean, tell me there ain't gonna be some crooked shit going on when two brothers are running the county.
Muscle said he's got a beautiful big home on that small income too.
Right.
All right, look at this with me. It's just I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but just what Dawn says, okay? Because I'm not going to get away from Candace and who she's influenced with her stories. Never, never, never. I understand we have a whole cast of characters. Walt Disney could not have made up all these characters.
Sure.
I get it. We've got tons of them. And just when you think that you've gotten through one, another one pops up. But I'm never going to get away from Candace and who around her, whose life has wound up in detriment because of her.
Summer Wells disappeared. Do your investigators know anything more now than they did 5 months ago?
We really don't know anything more, but everything's still on the table.
Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson is in charge of the investigation.
Everybody that's involved in this case is a person of interest. We've not ruled anyone out.
Summer's dad, Don Wells, agreed to meet with us. We talked to him on the edge of his property where Summer disappeared.
What do you think happened? What does your heart tell you?
Well, I know in my heart and in my mind she was abducted. Someone snuck up there when we weren't.
I know in my heart, in my mind, she was abducted. Okay, your heart and mind don't mean anything, but listen to what he says right after this. I know we have a conversation going on about Jose, but I don't care about that. This is not about Jose. I should have never brought Jose up, but listen to what he says after this.
Happened. What does your heart tell you?
Well, I know in my heart and in my mind she was abducted. Someone snuck up there when we weren't exactly paying attention, and
When we weren't exactly paying attention.
This guy takes the cake, man. I don't even know what to think of that. I was thinking a second ago, why did they pick abducted to say? Why is that their story versus anything else? Because it's very close to, if they took her to somebody and got rid of her, it's very close to the truth to say she was abducted. So I wonder, that would be kind of, again, my criminal mind. I'd want to go to something that I could buy on and be very close to the truth, so I wouldn't have such a hard time keeping up with all of it. You know what I mean?
Well, I would have just stuck with I
Keep
would have
him
just stuck with the original search. When people showed up and said we're going to look around for Summer, I would have been like, she's got to be around here somewhere. If you know, I mean, if that's what they were, if that was the whole thing,
right?
Was to cover up how she got gone.
Right. Just know nothing. I don't know. I was here. She was here 1 minute and gone the next, and just stick with that and don't say nothing else. That would have been their best bet, but you know, they don't. Nobody shuts up anymore.
No. Well, I mean, and children do wander off. I mean, I know there's lots of people who are like, oh my God, keep your eyes on them at all times. Yes, I get it. But I mean, here we sit right here. It's 10:30 a.m. There is a shopping center, a zoo, something somewhere right now in America where someone is looking for their child. I promise you. And they find the child and they say, don't ever do that again. Don't ever get out of my sight. You stand right here. You know, their blood pressure gets back to normal. They thank God they found their child. They get home. There's no charges or anything like that.
Right. See, this happened when I was a kid as well. There was a little bit of miscommunication. We were at the Easttown Mall in Knoxville, and I told my mom that I was going to go to the sports store. You know, I was probably about 9 or 10 years old, so I was old enough I could walk around in the mall by myself, but you know, not go too far. They were going in like the next door over or something. I said, I'm gonna go in a sports store, and then I changed my mind and said I'm gonna go to the pet store first and then to the sports store. But she didn't hear that part. Well, me being the gift the gab that I have, when I get to the pet store, it happened to be the time they're feeding the animals in the back, so I'm bullshitting with them, and I end up like in the back room feeding the animals with them. And the next thing I know, like an hour goes by, and you know, I'm just back here having a good old time. My mom's freaking out this whole time, going through the whole mall. The police is here, everything. They're paging, and I don't hear none of that shit because I'm in the back room, you know, feeding the animals. So,
meanwhile, your parents are about to have a heart attack. Look, it's happened to me.
my sister was 5 years old, and it scared her so bad her hair was falling out by clumps. I'm not talking like, you know, like a cat, like just one or two comes out. Like she looked like she had alopecia on her whole head. She looked like a tiger, or like a lion or something with spots in her head. The clumps of hair fell out. That's how bad it scared my mom and my sister. And that's also, I guess, why I have a soft spot for this type of stuff. But and again, nothing happened. I mean, you know, when I ended up walking out of the store when I got done, I just kind of, I'm gonna leave the store and go to the sports store. And like I said, and all of a sudden I hear my mom scream my name, and I look up and I'm like, what? And you know, I didn't know what was going on. And I mean, they were all freaking out. The cops were there, the whole 9 yards, but nothing ever happened. I mean, I got a good talking to, but you know, they didn't go to jail or nothing. So
No, but they keep saying, I just knew she was abducted. I just knew she was abducted. I mean, when my child got away from me at a store, I didn't assume my child was abducted. I knew my child was somewhere on, you know, another aisle. And boy, everybody, you know, found him really, really quick. Now, it was different for me growing up. You know, my parents would say, if you get away from me, somebody is going to kidnap you. I mean, it was, that was a different time though.
Right. That's what
Carly,
it is.
I know. Carly said on the latest interview, he, meaning Don, stated that he was on his way home and ready to cuss Candace out. I heard that too. He was armed for bear, and he said he knew when he got home he was going to be having it out with Candace about not having eyes on Summer and having to call the police about Summer. And I believe behind closed doors, he has given Candace a lot of hell. We know the whole 7 alibis story. But then he goes into saying, then he saw how broken her heart was. Well, my thing about that is, we've heard from Allie, they were on Snapchat or Facebook or whatever, doing a FaceTime, and Candace was messing around with a hat or something. She was obviously drunk. So how brokenhearted could you be talking to Allie's ass drunk?
Right. I think that was all just a show from Don saying him saying what his idea is, what he thinks he should have said, He thinks that makes him sound like a good guy, like that's what he should have done. So that's what he says, That sounds like a dumbass idea to me. I mean, if my kid was gone, I'm not going to come home, and I don't have kids, but let's say my dog was gone, I'm not going to come home and just light my wife up first thing over it because she made a mistake. I mean, you know how many damn mistakes she stood behind me on? I couldn't do that to her. So I don't think like that, but knowing how Don's a little different from the rest of us, I think he's talking tough guys why he said that. But of course she wasn't upset because she was trying on hats or whatever that night.
Yeah.
On the Snapchat. Why wouldn't you? I mean, on the Snapchat talking to Allie. Why the hell would you be talking to Allie anyway? I mean, you have so much going through your mind calling everybody you know. I'd be calling everybody. Hey, if you're at the mall, look for so and so. Where you at? Or you're a Cracker Barrel. She's running into my kid. Look, I'd be calling everybody I know, even if the police wouldn't let me go outside. I'd be on the phone. I'd be doing something. I'd be damned if I'm just gonna sit here.
And it's very odd. Candace is very proficient at using social media. She takes all the quizzes, tells you what her birthstone means, the whole 9 yards. Summer goes missing, and she does not put anything on social media about it. But at 6:05 p.m., okay, this is 25 minutes before calling 911, she posts a photo of their oldest son in winter clothes, basically. And it's very bizarre. She posts this at 6:05 as if she's just throwing up him in a nice outfit or something. And Summer goes missing. She does what she can to get a hold of Hunter, Allie, all that, but she doesn't put anything on social media. We know that she uses social media a lot.
Right, and that's the way of the world now. I don't really like it, but if you want to get the word out quick, that's how you do it nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But instead, she calls Allie. A calling tree is not going to get things done as fast as a post to everybody that you know.
For sure. But
And that's
the fact
something
she
that was.
She tells me she didn't want to. I mean, that's all there is to it.
And we discussed that when Quentin Simon, before he was found in the landfill, that was discussed, I know, on this channel a lot, that Leilani used social media for everything, airing her grievances, new boyfriend, pictures of herself. She's a bad bitch. I mean, all of these things. She's a psycho, you name it. Quentin goes missing and she doesn't use Facebook and say, I'm looking for Quentin. They want it covered up.
I mean, you would think these people would take a lesson from Susan Smith. I know she got caught, but damn, she put on a good show for the 9 days or whatever it was, She had a lot of people convinced for a good while, but these people, like, they didn't even read the book. Leilani or whatever, or Candace. I mean, they take the cake. I mean, this is unbelievable. They talk about movies. There'll be movies made for decades about this.
Mm-hmm.
And where would you even start? It would be like a volume or something. I'm not even sure what to call it. It wouldn't be like a series because it's the way it all works. You'd have to have some like a tree of movies, you know? This is the craziest thing.
Well, that's where Tim Mullen comes in. I think that's what he's been working on because don't let it be don't let anyone fool you. He didn't just meet Candace at a parade. Him and Dawn go way back. Dawn has known Tim longer than he's known Candace.
Right. I think they were in jail together in Texas or something, right?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think I heard that. I don't want to put that out as facts, but I'm pretty sure I heard that is how they originally met. But I could be wrong.
I don't know about any Texas connection. I don't know anything about that. But I mean, they go way back.
Everything I've said here today is my opinion only. But yeah, they take the cake, and this Tim guy, and going to the Robin, they're pulling the money out. That's expensive money to paint a house and put up some drywall with. I mean, she could have got a loan against her retirement a hell of a lot cheaper than she could have pulled it out. So just this is the craziest thing. I mean, and why would you even waste your money on that? I mean, they ain't gonna get these boys back. And she just
I don't think it's.
Don't trust them.
I think Robin has an ulterior motive. I don't believe her focus is as far. I don't think it's about the boys coming back to a new coat of Sherwin-Williams because it's beyond. I mean, it's a renovation, and I can't figure out, with the exception of the church, what the angle is here. And let me tell you what, any of my friends that came over and they're like, hey, I'm going to help you make this basement into a game room. I'd be like, do you have nothing else? What are you going to get out of it? What do you mean? That's
Right.
a major thing to do.
Right. Especially somebody like that ain't really got it, you know. I mean, I can understand that there's people that's got money with a good heart and they do shit like that, but they're not pulling out their 401k. They have the type of people that do that have ample money in their closet just to pull it out and do it. There's some weird shit about why that's expensive money to do what she's doing. So there's something really foul going on with that.
Yeah. And if she just wants a write-off, good luck, because she would have to do it to her own property.
Yeah, and she already lost everything she was gonna get by writing off. She lost in the penalty from pulling it out before she was 60 or whatever, 65.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if you pull out 40 grand, you're only gonna keep like 22 of that when you pull it out of a 401k. So that's the unfortunate part about those. So that's just expensive. I mean, you could get a loan even with expensive creditors right now. You can get a loan cheaper than that for 5 years, and it's not going to cost you 100%.
And I just couldn't imagine the conversation between her and her husband. Hey, you know my retirement? Uh-huh. Well, you know, it's doing good even with inflation and everything else going on. So I'm thinking about borrowing against it. And I'm going to go help out the Wells. And, you know, he'd be like, what? Huh?
Yeah. See, I do have a lot of experience growing up with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I went to their private schools and everything. But I was always an outsider because I was never a member of the church. But I have been around them a lot, and they've always seemed good to me. I've never seen anything foul as far as, you know, the dirty crimes or anything, nothing even remotely close to that. But they do have a couple weird members there that I've seen across the years. And there's a friend that's my age I graduated with, and I know that when she turned 18, and she was adopted into a Seventh-day Adventist family. I know when she turned 18, she split and went her own way and hadn't looked back. I'm trying to find her on the internet online, because I know she could tell us all the secrets. If there is anything, she could tell us all about it, because she was a member and she grew up from a tiny child in that life in families that's been in there. So she could tell us way more about it. I just need to find her, and I haven't had any luck so far.
Well, let me know if you do.
I did find her younger siblings, but they're so much younger than me. I don't think they would open up and talk to me. But I am thinking about hitting them up to ask them if they know how to get a hold of her.
Peas in a Pod said Robin's husband was mad that she was up there before. Using her 401k up there spells trouble in paradise. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. He did not want his own child around them. Next thing you know, we have something that looks like a damn horror movie, which is a tribute to Summer on her birthday. And it's got Robin's daughter going into the hospital to hug Candace.
This is just the weirdest damn group of people I've ever seen. I mean, baffling.
Well, and I mean, and I can't get past this. I'm going to play real quick.
No, I have 7 alibis. I have 7 alibis. Candace ain't going down. She's going down.
You were at work, right?
7 alibis. Candace ain't going down. She's going down.
You were at work.
All right, she's laying in the recliner with her swollen gums because she smoked after Dr. Phil gave her that free dental work. And instead of fighting back with him, like we know she knows how to do, she's laying there going, I know. That would have been a great opportunity because she knows how to break his doors, his face, and everything. And she's already in pain. So you know she can take a swing. She could tear the frame off if she wanted. I know. But instead of saying, you're going down with me, buddy. I know. And he says, and Candace is going down. You can't come back from that.
No, that's a weird one. I mean, I could, again, knowing how weird and goofy Don is, I could see him saying something like that to Ribber kind of jokingly, and then her come back and smacking him or saying F off or whatever. But the fact she says, I know, boy, that is the weirdest. I mean, how stupid are these people? I mean, they keep, even though we've not got enough information to know exactly what happened, they keep putting the damn spotlight on themselves. I mean, they're just, I mean, where do you find these people at?
That's
Nothing
what I
says look at me more than I've ever seen in my life. Nobody has shined the light on themselves brighter than these people, and the police department's doing nothing.
Yeah. I cannot believe it. It's like they, I mean, they put everything out there and then they're offended saying that, we're doing things to them. It's like, listen, we're talking about the disappearance of Summer and you're adding all this extra. And even when I'm like, look, I am not going to get into any of that stuff. And I don't. I'll tell you what, 99% of it, I don't touch with a 10-foot pole. Don't care. But when they say things like that, of course, it's going to pique my interest. Or when she's actively flirting with another man and gushing and blushing, no husband would not be offended by that.
None. I don't care how comfortable you are, and he's not, obviously, or he wouldn't have had gotten a fight over Jose. But so why is he putting up with it?
He was mad about Jose being there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He still put up with it, but it made him mad. Why is he not, why is he staying around for all this shit? If it's making you mad, why do you keep putting yourself through it?
And he was asked recently about, what went down in October of 2020. And he's trying to make it sound like it's just water under the bridge now. And he says, she was just, she was playing games. We were on 2 different pages about what we want. Now, what do you mean? You're married and you have children and property together. You can't be on 2 separate pages.
Right. And, also, there's laws that make it where you can't be, husband and wife can't be compelled to testify against each other. So, but if he leaves her, they can be forced to testify against each other if they get divorced. As long as they're married, you can't be forced on the stand against each other.
And it could be just that. Trust me, that's crossed my mind many, many, many times.
I know a fellow that's It's funny now. They've been married for 100 years and they're a real good couple. But this fella here in Washington was a real big timer in the Hells Angels, and he originally got married to this woman so she couldn't be forced to testify against him. They admit to that. Tell you, but, you know, the thing,
Crazy.
yeah.
That is crazy. Well, my friend, you stayed up for us because I know you work at night, and I appreciate you so much coming up. This is long overdue. I've been really excited for you to come on the show.
Right on. We'll do it again soon. It was fun.
All right, you go get some sleep because that's all I got for today.
Alrighty, have fun. I'll catch up with you later.
Conversation. Thank you.
Yep. Bye bye.
Let's have a big round of applause for our friend Fine Art on Fire. That was a great conversation. He brought a lot to the table because I mean, you know, he grew up there, and he's just saying this has gone back for years and years and years. Years and years and years. And I apologize. I didn't mean to switch any topic towards Jose or anything like that. So when I said I haven't seen an obituary or anything like that, I'm not putting anything out there that the man's alive, like, you know, Eddie and the Cruisers or Elvis sitting in the Bahamas or anything like that. I'm not saying that. So I should have never brought that up. And I do apologize because the focus is Summer, what happened to Summer. And I do believe 100% that eventually it's all going to come out. I can't promise it's going to make any sense. But at some point, we're going to know what happened. I do believe that. But I also believe by going through this old footage, and it's getting older by the day because we're going on 2 years, that they already knew. Besides this is a case outside the norm, they knew there was more to it than her just wandering off. Again, you don't take Hunter's phone because Summer wandered off at, say, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30 in the afternoon. You don't need Hunter's phone for that. But you need Hunter's phone because he communicated with Candace that day. So I don't know. I can't make sense of it. I cannot. So you guys, you have a great rest of your day. If I don't see you back here later this afternoon, because I'm trying to put a show together for little Scotty, or I say little Scotty, 14-year-old, you know, all little to me. If I don't get that together and do it this afternoon, then we're definitely going to have another show tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I appreciate you guys very much for being here and being just the coolest community on the tubes. Have a great one.